Power Hour with John Lee.
Moving across the room, DC Snipers. As you probably already know, but if you don't know, these were two guys who did some sniping, and they're very serious crimes. They killed 17 people in total. The kind of sequence of crimes that they committed over a short period of time is crazy. And who were they? They were John Allen Muhammad and Lee Boyd Malvo. Right, two black guys. And one was a soldier. John Allen Muhammad was a soldier who fought in the first Gulf War. So you're talking 1990, whatever, maybe 91. And he was in Iraq. And when he came back, he was just not the same man, according to his wife. He was just apparently, you might say, a shell of his former self, and you might also say that he was warped. He could have had Gulf War syndrome, I suppose. And then there was Lee Boyd Malvo, who was from the island of Antigua, and he was a street kid who never had a chance. So when he comes back, John Muhammad, when he comes back from the Iraq War, he's not the same man, as I say. And he loses his family because his wife leaves him. She can't deal with him, He's got the night terrors, and he just suddenly goes scary in the kitchen, and there's knives everywhere, and she's thinking, fuck this, I can't have me and my kids around this man. So she's trying to get away from him and trying to get the kids away from him, which she succeeds in doing. And John Muhammad is not happy with that. And don't forget, you're antagonising a war veteran here with serious mental problems. And what he does is he seems to adopt this Lee Boyd Malvo, who's a talented young man from this Caribbean island. It's just where the Caribbean starts to hit the Atlantic. And he's got talents. He can draw, he's artistic, he's intelligent, but he's completely lost and malleable. But they form a father-son bond to the point where Lee Boyd Malvo, Lee, calls him dad. Right? And that's what he attaches to, a dad, a father figure, not a psychotic killer. And so what John Muhammad does, is he trains him up. He's taking him to rifle ranges and he's teaching him to be a sharpshooter. And not just that, he's teaching him breathing techniques, and he's brainwashing him into believing, well, for example, that he's trying to create a society of 70 people, 35 boys, 35 girls, that are all obedient to the ways of John Muhammad, and Lee Malvo is going to be like a lieutenant in this, and perhaps the future of the society, because John Allen Muhammad is 41, Lee Boyd Malvo is only 17. He's a kid, right? And he's learning to shoot. What did they do next? They fit up a car, so they've got this station wagon car, and it's basically you pull the back seat down and you get into the back like a poor man's Batmobile, and there's a hole in the back and you can put the gun in there and no one can see you. Tinted windows, no one can see you from the outside, and these guys are sharpshooters, and it's mainly Lee Boyd Malvo who's in the back lying down, controlling his breathing, picking a target, boom, one shot kill. And this is happening in Washington, D.C., the capital of the country. Not to be confused with Washington State, where John Allen Muhammad is from. And they've travelled all that way to do this. And so this is 1 year after 9/11, remember, so people are on edge anyway. And, there was a plane hit the Pentagon, apparently. But something hit the Pentagon, and people were not happy, or were terrified, actually, before this even happened. And so when people started getting shot, and we're talking people at petrol stations or whatever, out in public, going into public buildings, going for the car in a car park, bang, dead. They killed 5 in one day. And of course they were saying it was random because one was young, one was old, one was black, one was white, one's a man, one's a woman. Is that random? It's what the Pink Floyd referred to as random precision. So maybe Johnny knows that. Well, you wore out your welcome with random precision. That one. Shine on your crazy diamond. So random precision is the key here. You're choosing people who are totally different from each other, aren't you? I mean, they wouldn't be so random, so eclectic, if you were literally just shooting the first person you saw. You're deliberately mixing it up, in my opinion. And so the media gets involved. Somebody saw a white van driving away, right? How many fucking white vans are there? Of course you saw one in the area driving, moving down the road. That's what vans do. So CNN in particular, but all of them, they come out, they're in a white van, they're in a white van. And then they're bringing out the fucking experts going, it's a white guy. I'm telling you now, it's a middle-class white guy or a middle-aged white guy. Maybe, he can't get his end away and he's living with his fucking parents. He's living in the basement. I could tell you that. But of course, it wasn't a white van. They had an old beat-up car, but it wasn't a white van. And it wasn't a white guy. It was two fucking black guys. And another thing they did was that John Mohammed and Lee Malvo, they sent a tarot card with messages on it to the police, very instrumental. And that was supposed to be top secret. It said, don't talk to the police, don't tell the police about this. And it was leaked to the media, and the media banged it straight on television. And so, these two guys, the DC snipers, they took advantage of all this confusion. They used to choose places where there was a white van, and I think they were waiting for somebody to come walking towards the white van and get in it, and then bang. And of course, when somebody goes down, then everyone sees the white van driving away. So they were taking advantage of the media's incompetence and dishonesty. And of course, they were chasing white people, chasing white men, not looking for two black guys because of the media and the constant repetition of this nonsense. And they also antagonised them by putting the fucking tarot card thing on television. So the next thing they do is say, right, okay, we've been calling you, which they had. They'd phoned every police entity they could find. And we've been telling you this and telling you that. We told you not to mention the tarot cards. You did it anyway. So now we've already killed one kid and we're going to kill more. Because they had shot a kid going to school. And we're going to start killing more kids now because you betrayed us. And this is all the media who've done this. So they've got a big part to play in all this. And they were killed. I mean, they were caught after killing all these people. They were caught. And they got sent down. They got sent down for the rest of their lives. I mean, John Mohammed was executed. And Lee Boyd Malvo got a really long sentence. So I don't know if he'll ever get out of prison. He might do. So that was one of the two prevailing theories that, well, there are three. One is that just crazy maniacs wanted to kill some peeps and they went around the country doing it and then decided to specialise in Washington. Another thing is the Society of 70 Motif, and that's what he was trying to do. My personal belief, I'm not the only one who thinks this, is that he wanted to kill his wife. The wife that took John Mohammed wanted to kill his ex-wife, Miriam, she was called, because she got the kids and left him after the war. He's come back to his family and then his family's gone. So he probably blames her for that. And she was living in that area. So I think that he was going there and he was selecting random victims. So people were just getting shot. So he could shoot his wife, kill his wife, and she would blend in with the crime, you see. And there'd be no type of victim because he was doing it that way. And then he would be able to arrive and say, well, we didn't always get along, but it's all right, I'll take the kids. I think that's what he was trying to do because he knew that he had no other means of getting his kids back, not justifying it. Psycho. And the father's son, the kind of adopted son thing, did this guy find this street kid in Antigua? That's where he found him, on the island of Antigua, and see that he was so desperate and so disassociated from everything. Because his mother, this Lee Boyd Malvo's mother, used to run away on the regular and used to say, I'm going to run away, I'm going to leave you if you carry on, and did. And he saw this kind of Black Oliver Twist and think, I'm going to fucking use you, I'm going to brainwash you, I'm going to make you think that you're my son, and I'm going to use you for murders. The first murder was in Washington State, where John Washington lived. He sent Lee Boyd Malvo round to this girl's house and he shot her on the doorstep. So did he deliberately groom this kid and make him feel like he had a father and let him call him dad, knowing all the while that he was just using him to kill his wife and get his real kids back? because that's sick, that's dark, that's really dark, and that's not to mention all the people they killed. So that one's crazy. That's a DC snipers who killed 17 people. Finishing off with Fred and Rose West. Yeah, I'll hit it. I mean, I'm trying to get so much in today. Fred and Rose West, they're from Gloucester in England, right? It's in the south of England, and it's where people talk like that. Everyone seems like a farmer, even if they work in a shop. And so you can be as cool as you want, man. You can get your leather jacket, you can have a Ferrari. If you get out of a fucking Ferrari looking really cool and go, hello, my name's David, and I'm from Gloucester, you're not fucking cool. No way. And Fred West was from Gloucester, so I mean, they probably all sound cool to each other. And Rose West was also from Gloucester, and so they both came from abusive families. I'm not suggesting that's common in Gloucester, but they both came from, I say they all because there's more people around them that did as well. And they came from really abusive families, like hypersexualized. Fred West was having sex with his mum growing up. She kind of introduced it, and it was known, and it was, you know, not a secret. It was, I don't know what you call that. It's like it was some kind of bohemian, incestuous fucking mess inside the house, and he was kind of inducted into this incestuous world. And she and Rose West, who was 12 years younger than Fred, when she was growing up, her father sexually abused her, had sex with her all the time, and even after they were married, Fred and Rosemary West were married and they lived together. The father, Rose's father, used to come round to have sex with his daughter, with her husband in the house, and he knew all about it. So, you know, go in there. This was the thing. This was the way it was. And Fred didn't think anything of it because he grew up having sex with his mum. Fucking what? And so this is what you're getting now. A little bit of background. Fred, good-looking kid. He was a good-looking lad. But he wasn't the brightest. His IQ was 80, which I think is borderline, as they say, retarded. I'm not sure on the correct terminology. I don't want to offend anybody. But he had, I don't know if it's remedial. I really don't know. So he wasn't gifted intellectually. And then he had a crash. He was on his motorbike. He's hit a car head on, smashed his face into it. Didn't do his brain any favours. But it was more like impeding his morality in the frontal lobe and the frontal cortex. And so the main consequence was that he lost all sense of morality. And apart from that, he smashed his face up good and proper. So the looks that he had were gone. He lost his looks and his morality in a smash of the head against a moving vehicle. And he gets married. He marries a woman called Rena. She tries to tame him because he's not fucking right, and that doesn't work. But they have a kid together, and she goes off to Glasgow, and then he meets a girl called Anna McFall, and that's just a problematic, tumultuous relationship because Fred's a fucking maniac. So he kills her and buries her in a field. This is before he even met Rose. So before he's even met Rose, who became Rose West, he's already killed his ex and buried her in a field. So he meets Rose and he charms her. I'm telling you now, she was pretty. Johnny, if you can find a picture of her in black and white sitting on Fred's lap on a couch with long hair like that, looking up at the camera with big eyes, she's a pretty girl. Very pretty girl at one point. But when she was a kid, they called her Dozy Rosie. The other kids called her Dozy Rosie. Low IQ again. Which is not a bad thing. I'm just saying that this is part of the dynamic that they had together. And so he met her. He's ugly. He stinks. But apparently he's charming. Very charming, apparently. And they get together and they become a couple. And it's quite a seedy thing from the beginning, it seems. And they meet this woman called Charmaine. No, what's Caroline? Caroline is the name of the nanny. And so they meet Caroline, and she becomes the nanny. And she's there one day, and Rose just attacks her, drags her into the bedroom, throws her on the bed, and it's Fred that comes in to help Rose rape the nanny. But it's Rose who's the aggressor. This is according to the victim. It's Rose who's the aggressor. They tie her up, they rape her. It's fucking rank, absolutely disgusting. And when you see Fred's face, you know, pictures of him with the big fucking wide face like that, looking crazy. This poor girl tied up, thinking, what the fuck's going on? I thought you guys were going to help me, because this girl as well, Caroline, she was abused as well as a girl growing up. And so now she's just in hell. And that face, and her best friend, if she thought was a friend, Rose, is raping her. Absolutely fucking crazy. And so that was kind of the way that they started. And the reason I mentioned the name Charmaine is because this was one of the daughters. It was Fred's daughter that he had with Rena. So this is his first wife. So when Fred's in prison for some petty nonsense, Rose kills Charmaine, right? Kills the daughter, Charmaine. And then the mother turns up looking for the daughter. She kills the mother as well. And I'm pretty sure buried them both in the field where Anne McFall had been buried by Fred. And this is how the relationship sets out. So this is the basis of their relationship. And they were fucking together for a long time. They got a house on the infamous now 25 Cromwell Street. Just sounds evil when you say it. It probably didn't, but it does now. 25 Cromwell Street. And for this rape, she reported it to the police. The nanny, Caroline, reports this to the police, and she doesn't testify against them because she's terrified and ashamed. And they got a £25 fine and never did any prison time, and went on to do 14 years of just hell, mania, psychopathy. And the poor girl, Caroline, the nanny, she felt guilty for the rest of her life because she blamed herself for not reporting these two psychos. And it seems like they're in a competition to be the worst. Who's worse? Is it you or me? And I'll kill you, you know. I'll stab you up in your sleep, mate. Don't you worry about that. And he's going back with that in the same way. And look what I can do to this girl. And they were killing them, they were chopping them up, they were burying them under the house. I mean, take it to whatever extreme you want. To the point, actually, where they killed their own daughter, mutual daughter, called Heather, and buried her under the fucking patio in the backyard, and continued to live in the house, and they've got loads of kids. And they say the family joke was, shut your mouth, you'll be under the fucking patio with Heather. And that's what got them caught. Because they got so loose with it that this was a family joke. The kids are going out on the park playing and saying, oh yeah, shouting at each other, you'll be under the patio like Heather. And they're already weird. So this becomes the talk of the town. And the police kind of start getting wind of it. And they go around and they dig up the patio. Sure enough, they find bodies, multiple. They found 3 legs. There was one body, at first. They found one body with 3 legs. So they thought, well, obviously, that's not right. And so they kept digging. And then they found, I think it was 9 bodies in the house. Another couple of bodies, as I said before, in a field. A couple of bodies in a previous house. I mean, fucking bodies everywhere they've been. And they get arrested. Fred confesses, much like the Hindley Brady situation. Fred confesses to this, and Rose blames Fred and says she doesn't know anything about it, which is bullshit. It's demonstrably false. I'm not blaming her either. I'm saying 2 fucking psychos. One admitted it, one didn't. And so Fred, under the pressure of all this, he commits suicide. Or maybe he's just a chicken. Maybe he don't want to face the big boys in prison who might have something to say about his fucking antics and killing little kids and killing women and burying people under his house. Maybe there might be some guys in jail who've got some things to say about that because they can't go and see their wives and daughters. Take it out on this fucking nutter over here, this freak. And that's probably what would have happened. And he thought, well, I'll take the rope way out. And eventually she was convicted of 10 murders, Rolls West. 10 murders, that's what she's convicted of. But the police say there could be many more. They really don't know. Eventually, they demolished the house. I mean, it just became 25 Cromwell Street was an international symbol of death and evil and all that is rank in the world. And people didn't want to walk past it. They didn't want to see it. It was upsetting. And so they've levelled it now. It's a path. But I've seen an interview with this nanny, this Caroline, and they did the interview on the path, and she was saying, no, I can still feel his presence, which is interesting. They didn't knock it down enough, so they should have done something else. I don't know what, but they actually knocked the place down. So.